Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm Laura Cavallo, your cravings coach, and today we are talking about goal setting for the new year. I know a lot of people get really motivated around the beginning of the year, and I think it's a great time to reevaluate kind of what went well in the last year, where the challenges were, what you feel like you can do better moving forward. And, there's a lot of motivation this time of year. And so I want to give you a little bit of structure when it comes to laying out your goals. Now, this episode is going to be in tandem with next week's episode on Tuesday, January 3rd. So I'd love for you to listen to this one, kind of let it digest, maybe even come back to it before next Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, when the other episode drops, which is going to be 3 things to ask yourself before choosing a diet plan, kind of use these 2 episodes together in tandem to help you create a goal for what I'm going to guide you through is the next 3 months. So let's grab a piece of paper and pen and let's get to it. So step number 1, I already mentioned, is let's reflect on the previous year. Okay. So question number 1 is, did you accomplish your health or fitness goals in this last year? And it's a large time period. Okay. So maybe go back to the beginning of January last year. Where were you at the beginning of January last year? What did you kind of set out for yourself? Walk yourself through the year. Okay, maybe you started off strong. You started out, in a good routine. Did you continue that routine? Were there any challenges that made it more challenging for you? The second question is, what enabled you to be successful at sticking to that routine or that process or that diet, whatever it was? Even if it was for a week or 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. Let's dig into the successes. Let's pinpoint what helped you be successful. Was it because it was laid out in front of you? Was it because it was easy? Was it because you could do it on the go? Was it because you had a coach? Was it because you had a community? Was it because it was more simple and straightforward and you didn't have to think about things too much? Did the diet plan help you feel good? Did the exercises make you feel good that you wanted to continue doing it? What enabled you to stay consistent, even if it was just for a week? Third question is, what held you back? And you can pause the podcast and answer the questions. What held you back from staying consistent? What held you back from continuing on the path to your goals if you didn't achieve your goals or if you stopped working towards them? This could be maybe life demands, right? Something maybe happened in your life. Maybe you felt too overwhelmed with the program and you couldn't juggle all of the elements of it. Was it diet and exercise and sleep and this and that? Did you feel like you had the support that you needed? Was there a community behind you? Did you have a workout buddy? Or were you doing it alone and did you just not feel as motivated? Did you feel like maybe your goals were too big that after some time you weren't seeing results and you got frustrated? Maybe from a mental aspect, you felt a little discouraged, really didn't maybe know where to start or if you were on the right track. Maybe you felt like you needed more accountability, more motivation. And then the fourth question is, this can go back to this past year, but also through the length of maybe your past goals in the last few years, right? What have you tried that hasn't worked? What have you tried over the last few years that maybe you've started and just haven't been able to see it through? And I guess the opposite question to this, which you can have as well, is what have you tried that has worked? Was it being part of a fitness group? Was it being part of a gym? Was it going to classes? Was it doing small habits? Was it working with a coach? Okay, so to review, first part, reflect on the last year. And you've got 4/5 questions. Number 1 is, did you accomplish your health and fitness goals that you laid out for last year? If you don't remember what they were, that's okay. Maybe it's similar to something that you're setting now. Question number 2, what enabled you to be successful? Question number 3, what held you back or got in the way or was a challenge? And then question number 4, what have you tried that has worked and what have you tried that hasn't worked? So before we dive into goal setting, I want to lay out a word on goal setting, okay? And the reason is oftentimes we set pretty big, lofty goals for ourselves, especially when it comes to like health and fitness. And obviously this is a podcast around cravings and fat loss. So I'm going to talk specifically when it comes to fat loss goals, although I know that other people, that people have goals that have nothing to do with fat loss. They might have strength goals or endurance goals or longevity goals or just wanting to feel better and feel healthier and happier. And the cool thing about this podcast is all of the strategies that we give you are not only going to help you with cravings and can help with fat loss, but you're also going to live healthier and happier lifestyle overall. So when it comes to goal setting, having a big goal is great, right? It's great if you are someone that is maybe more competitive, super focused, you flourish with routines, and you know that you can dedicate an extended period of time to being more dedicated, 3 to 6 months, being more regimented, being more structured, staying the path in the face of challenges. Knowing that even if you mess up or you're not consistent for a week, that you can easily get back on track. However, for most of us, especially if you're kind of new to health and fitness, or, you haven't been able to achieve your goal in a while, or you have a lot of things going on, right? Maybe you have kids at home, or you travel a lot, or you have a demanding career, or you're taking care of someone at home that maybe has an illness or a sickness. That is going to leave a lot less mental bandwidth and time for you to maybe have a set structure, a set routine, to stay super focused, stay super motivated all the time. And even the most motivated people aren't always motivated. So I want you to be realistic, okay? And we're going to go through SMARTer goals. SMARTer goals is a strategy that I learned in the health coaching mindset certification with Casey Jo Orvidas. And it's a way for you to lay out your goals in a smarter way. But what I'd love for you to do is, yes, have that big goal in mind. Maybe that's something you put on your vision board for 2023. I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds, right? Or I want to lose 30 pounds and I want to add 25, 50 pounds to my squat. Or I want to go to the gym 4 days a week. Maybe these are longer, more overarching goals that you have for yourself. But for the purpose of this episode, I want you to give yourself a 3-month goal, okay, through the end of March. And I want you to break it down into monthly goals and then weekly goals as well. So first, let's go through SMARTer goals, and then we can walk through how to break down your goals for the 3 months, okay? So SMARTer goals, we want it to be specific. Specific. And I want you to take the time to write out not just, I want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. I want to lose 15 pounds in 3 months. What are the specific actions and habits around your longer term goal? The steps that you need to get to where you want to be. What are the habits, the behaviors, and the thought process you'll need to accomplish this larger goal? And even a 3-month goal is going to be a larger goal, right? You might have the goal of losing, again, 10 to 15 pounds in 3 months. What are you going to have to do to get there? So for example, I guess we'll just go through them here with each one. I will need to improve my diet. I will need to include more fruits, more vegetables. I will need to do a little bit of meal planning on Sundays. I will need to be active a few days per week. That might mean scheduling walks with a buddy, scheduling myself into a class each week, It's going to involve me planning ahead and preparing a bit. So actually write down the habits and behaviors and the thought process you're going to need to lose this 15 pounds in the next 3 months. So you can pause here. And if you don't know what those behaviors are yet, that's okay. I understand that a lot of us and, people that are starting out don't actually know what they need to do to get there. If you've listened to this podcast at all, you can go back to Statusful Plates. That's a great place to start. Walking is one of the best ways to achieve fat loss without impacting cravings and hunger. I'm also going to go through the best exercises for fat loss on a future podcast coming up soon. And again, if you need any support with this, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I can definitely help you kind of create more concrete habits, behaviors, and thought processes. So that's number one, specific. Number two is measurable. How are you going to monitor your progress in both the short and the long term? Now, a word of advice. If you are looking to lose fat and maybe tone up, get stronger, get more fit, look more athletic, we don't want to use the scale. We don't want to use the scale as our sole form of monitoring our progress. It is a bad predictor of fat loss. The scale is a good predictor of weight loss, but when it comes to fat loss, we want to see that measurements are changing, our clothes are fitting differently, and our body is starting to look different. One of the best transformations that we facilitate at Laura Cavallo Coaching is called body recomposition. That is helping women put lean muscle mass on their bodies, which means toning, adding muscle, getting stronger, and helping them lose inches. So it's kind of like we're losing fat while building muscle. So we are recompositioning the body, which oftentimes we're not going to see a ton of change on the scale unless you have a lot more weight to lose. And I know that might sound a little scary, like, well, don't we want the scale to come down if I'm trying to lose fat? You will lose weight oftentimes with fat loss, but when it comes to weight loss, on the other hand, you also lose muscle, you lose water, you lose all sorts of other things. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but when it comes to measuring your progress, I want to encourage you to do progress photos, and I want to encourage you to do progress measurements, not just rely on the scale. Other ways to measure your progress are biofeedback, okay? And these are really good for the short term and giving us some non-scale victories. Biofeedback is ways that your body is communicating with you, and you can measure your progress. Let's do 3 different ways. So first is sleep quality. The second is cravings and hunger. And the third is willingness to train. So at the beginning of January, you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being low, 5 being high. What's your quality of sleep? How intense are your hunger and cravings? 5 being high, 1 being low. And what's your desire to train or exercise? Scale of 1 to 5. And at Laura Cavallo Coaching, we have over 10 different biofeedback markers that we use with our clients. But for the purposes of today and just giving you some measurable and attainable ways to track, those are some good non-scale ways to track your progress on a week-to-week and month-to-month basis. So we talked about biofeedback for measurable, as well as progress photos, measurements, how our clothes are fitting, and you can even use the scale, but do not rely on it. The third part of smarter goals is A. And I know in the past you might think that this is attainable, but this is the word additive. So when it comes to creating goals, we want to create goals around adding things in that can be improved on versus taking things away. So for example, if your goal in 3 months is to lose 15 pounds, how are you going to get there? By using C, additive. So we can incorporate this into our specific habits. So I'm going to add in more water. I'm going to add in more fruits and vegetables. I'm going to add in a couple walks per week. Versus I'm going to take out the soda. I'm going to take out Netflix. I'm going to take out buying ice cream. Right now it starts to get into the area of starting to take things away. And when we take things away, when we restrict things, we only end up wanting them more. When we start to add things in, it slowly lets the things that are less unhealthy or less helpful for us fall off. And without creating that scarcity mindset of, right, oh, I can't have that soda, right? If you increase your water, you are likely going to have less soda. If you increase your fruits and vegetables, you are likely going to have those chips less and less as a midday snack, right? So think about adding things into your diet instead of taking them away. So the next thing that we want to consider when creating smarter goals is the letter R. We want our goals to feel rewarding. Now, this ensures that our goals are personally rewarding and in line with our values and with our identity as an individual. But here is the shtick, okay? These are your values and identity of the person that you want to become. You may not yet be this health-focused person that values eating well and going to bed and on time and getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep and feeling rested in the morning and exercising 4 days a week. You may not be that person yet, but you want to get there. So it's important to kind of envision this person that you want to become. If you could wave a wand and in 3 months be this person, what would you be doing throughout the day? What are your thought processes like? What habits are you doing? What behaviors are you engaging in? How are you going about your day? What time are you getting up? What type of foods are you going grocery shopping for? Are you cooking? Are you meal prepping? Are you finding a way to enjoy healthier meals, but in a quicker way, right? Like get really specific. If you can, you can get as specific as you want with some of these values and these identities of the person that you want to become, and truly envision it. Envision for yourself you in 3 months in this healthier version and the values and how you identify. Right now, your values and identity may not align with the person that you want to become. Right? Maybe you're drinking more alcohol, you're doing more takeout, you're not really prioritizing any health forward foods like proteins and fruits and vegetables and whole unprocessed foods. And, maybe you're a little bit more sedentary, you're more focused on Netflix, maybe you're scrolling a little bit more, maybe your sleep is really off, maybe you're not really paying much attention to your mental health and your mindset around things. That might be who you are now. But who do you want to become? What are the things that you're going to have to do to make changes and create this new version of yourself? We want our goals to be in line with the person that you envision. And you can take it step by step. You don't have to completely revamp yourself as a human being in order to start adopting healthier habits and make better choices, right? We can just start doing small things, right? I'm someone that wants to start going to bed earlier, and I want to start valuing my sleep and maybe my mental health a little bit more. I'm going to start reading some self-help books or listening to some podcast or getting off of scrolling and doing something that's more beneficial for my mind and my body, right? So start small in terms of envisioning yourself as this person. But remember, your goals do need to align in terms of your values and identity, so that you can stick to the plan more, right? And you can feel more motivated and you can feel more excited and you can stay more on track. Part 5 of Smarter Goals is time bound. So this obviously depends on the individual. Sometimes having a date in mind can be helpful. Like say you have a high school reunion or a vacation or a wedding, right? That can help motivate some people. For other people, that can make you more stressed out, more anxious, right? I have to do all the things now. So if you're someone that really struggles with hard deadlines and this actually brings up more anxiety, then give yourself more time and don't feel like you have to give yourself a hard end date. If you have no choice, right? And you're like, well, at the end of March, I'm getting married, or I have this vacation and I really want to feel confident in my bikini. I want to feel, happier and feel just really good in my body. The end of March is really my time, but it is a little bit stressful. I want to encourage you to go back to specifics, right? And going back to the behaviors you need to do on a weekly and daily basis to help you get to this longer term goal. And now as you start to break up these goals into smaller sub goals, what do you just have to do this week? It gets more easy and it gets more approachable. Part number 6 is efficacy. Goal setting should help you see an increase in self-efficacy, your ability to push through obstacles. Now, this isn't the same as self-confidence. This is more of the internal belief in yourself that you're capable of moving through challenges, learning, and growing in the process. So at Lord Cavallo Coaching, we call this flexibility and curiosity. Instead of letting a challenge get in the way and, make you say F it to your goals, you want to actually start to understand like, okay, what happened here? Why wasn't I able to be successful in this particular scenario, this particular day, this particular week? And say, okay, well, let me learn from it. Let me move forward and let me see if I can make some adjustments this week and move through this challenge and learn and grow from it, versus letting that challenge hold you back, create a roadblock, and maybe not feel capable of moving forward. Efficacy is this ability to move through challenges, learn, and grow in the process. And then the last part of SMARTA goals is relative. These goals need to remain top of mind and that we're continually checking in with them, right? And continually checking in with ourselves and pursuing them. And that is why I just wanted you to set a 3-month goal and then break it down month by month and week by week, so that each week you have sort of a plan for reaching this longer term goal and these shorter, smaller sub goals to help you reach this larger, longer term goal. So let's review SMARTer goals. We want our SMARTer goals to be specific, not just taking the time to write out what we're going to accomplish in the next 3 months, but the habits, behaviors, and thought processes you need to accomplish this larger goal. We want them to be measurable. Okay, so monitor your progress in the short and the long term, not just using progress photos and measurements, but also biofeedback markers. We want our goals to be additive. We want things to be added into our life, into our habits, into our routines, instead of feeling like we're taking things away. We want our goals to be rewarding. We want to ensure that they are in line with our values and our identity of the person that we want to become. And while this can feel hard to envision, you can simply ask yourself, is this habit in line with the person I want to become in the future? Is this habit going to help me or hurt me or hold me back on the way to my goals? You can do a daily check-in with yourself. And slowly you can start to see your values shifting, your identity shifting. Because I guarantee if you are someone that really does want to adopt a healthier lifestyle, pursue fat loss, pursue strength and health and having a healthier and happier lifestyle, you will need to shift and change as a person. That is without a doubt. And then for some, time bound, right? So this really depends on the individual, giving yourself a goal date. This can be helpful for some, but not for others. Part 6 is efficacy. Okay, goals should help you see an increase in self-efficacy. Okay, your ability to push through obstacles and feel capable of moving through challenges. And then the last one is relative. Okay, goals need to remain top of mind. Do daily and weekly check-ins with yourself. Am I still on track with my goals? What went well this week? What do I need to make adjustments with moving forward? And are my decisions in line with the goals that I'm trying to achieve? Would love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. If you have any questions on it or actually want to share your SMARTer goals with me, go ahead and drop me a line at our Instagram account at cravings_control_fat loss. And I will see you there. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, it would mean so much to me if you took less than 2 minutes to give us 5 stars and submit a quick review. Your feedback helps other women who are looking for help with their cravings and fat loss goals find us more easily and benefit from the free content we share. Thank you so much. It truly means a lot.